We're preparing a live stream preview. Please wait a moment.
Okay, it looks like we're going. Just want to make sure.
Start this now.
I don't want to see that stream. Let's go to the public view. All right, we're on. Cue. All right. So hello everybody, and welcome to my next live stream on learning how to use Flutter. Now, my previous video, which wasn't a stream, I basically looked through a few widgets. So we looked at, I believe, we looked at column, we looked at things around column. So then we looked at the flexible, expanded, and we also looked at something called flex. So I'm pretty sure I went through all this. We looked at flex, we looked at expand, we looked at flexible, we looked at column, and then we started looking at text. All right, and I played around with that for a bit, and we got basically this thing right here, right? We played around with font sizes, decorations, we added a wavy underline, we had some word spacing, some letter spacing, and things of that nature, all right? Now, obviously, there's probably more you can do with text, but I think that's enough for now, okay? I want to move on to something a little bit more interesting, which is buttons. So we've got a raised button here. So I think this is where I'll start looking at, is playing around with a raised button. So what I thought I'd do is I'll come over to my widgets, and I'll create another folder, and I'll just say buttons. And in here, I'll create a Dart file for my RaisedButton.dart sample. And what I'm thinking is I might grab my container.dart and pretty much take a lot of this with me. So RaisedButton, paste all this in, and we'll basically just have that container, and we'll remove a whole bunch of stuff here. In fact, I might not even use a container, I might use a center and make this now a raised button or something like this. I'm not too sure yet. Let's go raised button test widget, and for the moment I'll just throw some text here like I had before, just so we can get it up and going. Save that, and then I'll come over to my main.dart, and we'll add an import up here for import widgets / buttons. What did I call it? RaisedButton.dart. And here I'll go raised button test widget, like so, and save. And hopefully we get, so we just get a blank little thing like that. Cool. Now let's have a look at what we got. Okay. So a raised button is based on a material widget whose material.elevation increases when the button is pressed. We use raised buttons to add dimension to otherwise mostly flat layouts. Example, in long busy lists of content or in wide spaces. Avoid using raised buttons on already raised content, such as dialogues or cards. Okay. If the onPress callback is null, then the button will be disabled and by default will resemble a flat button in the disabled color. If you are trying to change the button's color and it's not having any effect, check that you're passing a non-null onPressed handler. Okay, so what is the minimum that we have to pass in? So it looks like the minimum is onPressed and child. So let's do that. So let's come down to my new widget. And here, I'm going to change it from text to raised button. And what they say, it was not color, child. I'll give this a text and we'll just say click me or something, just for now. And the other thing we had to do was onPressed, right? onPressed. And I'm pretty sure I can just do something like this. And that's it. And if I save it, there's a button. Oh, whoop-de-doo. And that's fantastic. And if I put what they said and said null, this would make it disabled. Okay, cool. So now that's considered disabled. I can't click it. Well, let's go and put it back to something. Now, can I log this? I think I can go something like, I saw this the other day, debug print or something. I can put clicked button or something like that and save. I'm pretty sure when I click this now, if I come to debug content, yeah, there it is. Clicked button in Flutter. Cool, so we know we're clicking it. If I click it again, it's going to keep repeating it. Okie dokie, so that's the minimum. So we have an on-pressed handler. If you want to ink splash effects for taps, well, if you want an ink splash effect for taps, but don't want to use a button, consider using Inkwell directly. Raised buttons have a minimum size of 88 by 36, which can be overwritten with button theme. Okay, so we'll skip the sample because the sample is always very primitive. See also all these buttons. So I'm going to try some of these buttons later. Constructor. So we've got required, void callback on breast. We've already handled that. Value changed on highlight changed. Okay. Button text theme, text color, disabled. Alright, so let's go down to these things. What do we got? Child, which we've already specified. I gave that a widget that's text. Animation duration. Defines the duration of animation changes for shape and elevation. Okay, so if I was to come and say, because I don't know about shape, but I'm assuming this button elevates. Yeah, the elevation seems to change when I click it. I think it's that the elevation is based on the shading I'm seeing here, I think. See how when I hold it down, it changes the elevation, so there's more, it tends to shade out. So I think it's up a little lower, or no, sorry, it's a little higher, and then when you click it, it goes a little lower. Or the other way around. It's not quite sure. So if I come and say animation duration, what do I have to pass it? So animation duration passes a duration object, and that's got a bunch of constants on it. But what do we got here? Milliseconds per minute, duration, microseconds. There's microseconds. Is there seconds? Let's just see. It seems like there's a lot going on there. Was it duration dot hours per day, microseconds per day? But that's not what I want, right? I want to be able to go. Maybe I have to pass this as a constructor. Ah, here we go. So seconds, we'll go 5 seconds and save. So does that mean when I hold this down, oh yeah, the animation's going slow. And when I let go, that's the shadow animation. See? So technically it's rising up, and then it's rising down. Rising up, down. Or you could say it the other way around actually. I think it's, when I click it, it's going down, and when I let go, it's going back up. Alright, cool. What's next? So we just had that. Clip behavior. The content will be clipped or not according to this option. If this is like normal clipping stuff, it's probably not going to be obvious unless I do weird stuff, so I'm going to leave that. Color. The button's fill color displayed by its material, where it is in by default unpressed enabled state. Okay, so when the button is enabled, this is the color it's going to give. So let's go color, and I'm actually going to use theme data dot, is it from? No, maybe it's not theme data. Maybe it's theme dot of. This is it. I've seen this before. Theme dot of context, and then I'm going to use that blue color, which I believe if I go primary color, that'll make it blue. Oh yeah, there we go. Excellent. Now how do I change the text color? Because it's black. Is that the next thing down? Color brightness. The theme brightness used for the button. Alright, so color brightness. Color. And what type of object was it taking? Brightness. So it seems like there's only two, dark and light. So if I go dot dark, what does that do? Nothing. What if I go light? Hang on a sec. What happened there? It seemed to take a while to change brightness. See that? Weird. But I didn't press anything. All I did was change dark, whoops, to light. So it's a slow transition inward, is it? So why is it black under these circumstances? I'm gonna take this animation duration out for a second. I'm gonna make this dark because it seems to affect the. Alright, so when it's the dark theme, the text goes white. When it's a light theme, the text goes dark. Okay, so that's essentially, so it's acting like an inverse. Gotcha. Well, I'm not going to use it at all. I'm going to actually comment this out, and we'll just leave it as blue and whatever the default is, which it's just currently that. And is there another way of setting the text color though? Well, let's continue down. So disabled color. So when it's disabled, let's give it a weird. So we'll go underneath here. Sorry, disabled color. We'll go theme dot of context dot. Was it disabled color? See what that does. And then I need to make it disabled. So we make it disabled by setting on press to null, right? So then in that case, let's have to comment that out. So that looks like the default disabled color if I don't include this, right? So if I comment that out, yeah, it's the same. So instead of using theme of, let's actually just use a color explicitly. Color dot, we'll do this, we'll go 255, and I might go an orangey color. So just trying to think, probably need more red than I need green, and no blue. Yeah, probably not. Probably too much green, I think. Let's go 80 for green. Yeah, it's a bit better. So when it's disabled, it does that, but when I re-enable it, it's blue. Okie dokie, right? Disabled text. Oh, here we go. Disabled text color. It's the next one. Oh, disabled elevation. You can make the elevation of the button different when. So if I go disabled elevation, say 10. Once again, I'm going to have to disable this on press event. Oh yeah, the shadow indicates it's gone up a bit. So if I put this down to 1, yeah, you can't see much shade. So what's the default for this? Come on, that's not the current property. Looks like it might be passed into material button. Disable color. disable elevation. Here we go. The elevation for the button. So it defaults to 0.0. Okay. Which is no elevation whatsoever. But this is not for the raise button though. This is just for all buttons, right? This is the material button class. So for raise button, are we passing in a different value in the constructor? So where is it? Disabled text color. Disabled. Where's disabled elevation? Disabled elevation. Disabled elevation. So the default must be 0.0 as it comes in too, is it? What about just elevation? Is that being set? No. Maybe somewhere else it's setting the elevation? I am confused. Because it's got some elevation to start off with. That's why it's called a raise button. Anyway, let's go. Let's just move on. Actually, there was another disabled property on there. Disabled text color. Yeah, so let's add that. Disabled. Can't spell. Text color. I'm going to set this to white. So color. Right. We can't just use white, can we? So 255 all around. Save. There it is. Or can I just add... Oh, it doesn't really matter. I've done it now. Cool. So when it's disabled, it does that. However, when it's not disabled, the text is still going to be black, right? Okay. So I'm assuming there's a text color as well. There it is. So for this one, I'm going to also put color from RGB. And yes, I could add this probably to a variable and reuse it, but I don't really care at this point. I'm just trying to learn the widgets. There we go. Okay, cool. So text color, cool. Now elevation. Elevation. Elevation, let's go 10. Yeah, so that increases it. So can I put this like at 100? What happens if I put it at 100? Oh yeah, the shadow goes further away. So if I say 1,000, you're probably not even going to see it anymore. Yeah, it's so high up, you can't see anything. Let's go something a little bit more realistic, like 40. Yeah, you can see the shade coming in closer and closer. So you got to think about the fact that the higher up the button is from the rest of the layout, the more likely the shadow is going to distribute itself. And then the lower, the closer the shadow is going to be to the button. Yeah. Oops, not that, not Q1. Cool. I understand that. Enabled. Oh, it's read only. Hash code read only. Height. The vertical extent of the button. So they said that the default was what? Where is it? 88 by 36. So the default is 36. So let's say I make the height 56. Height 56. Oh, what's going on here? Height is not a parameter. But it is, I just saw it. Or was it also locked? Oh, it's inherited. So it's not part of the constructor, is it? No. Okay. So there's no width and there's no height, so we can't change the width and the height from that situation. So these are just properties that are exposed but cannot be passed in. Highlight color. I haven't changed the highlight color, have I? Let's do that. We've got text color, highlight, highlight color, and we'll go theme.of context, and we'll go accent color. How about we just do that and see what it does? It looks the same. Oh boy. Okay. What if I just go canvas, button theme, button color, card color? Let's go card color and see what happens. Ooh. Nice. Let's just leave it like that, and I'll try and get the text when highlighted. Can I change the text when it's highlighted though? Highlight elevation. Could I not change? Hang on. Why can't I change the? Oh no, it says text color. Oh, here we go. Text theme defines the button's base colors and defaults for the button's minimum size, internal padding, and shape. So that's the text theme, is it? But this is inherited. It's not passed in the constructor, is it? So what is passed to the constructor? Widget, label or icon. Oh, that's for the RaisedButton.icon method. Duration, clip, shape border, edge, inserts, geometry. Double brightness. Disable color, disable text color, highlight color. So they haven't really given, they got a splash color. What's a splash color? What is the splash color? The splash color of the button's inkwell. Okay. So I think that's that fadey thing you get when you click on it. Like, it's hard to see because I'm using a white color here. So let's change this to something a little bit easier to see. We'll go from RGB 255 25500. We'll go purely red. So when I highlight, so, and then I've got, what was it? Ink. No, was it ink or something like that? Splash color, that's right. Splash color. We'll go green for this. Color dot from RGB 255 255 Save. Does that give me like a green effect? Oh yeah. So you see that clicky thing? I think that's what they're referring to on the cursor. So if I make it a different color, say yellow. I don't know, it's hard to see. It looks orange, not. Let's go white then. Purely white. So it doesn't look like anything's changing. I don't know what this splash color is then, because it says inkwell. So what's the inkwell? Let's have a look at inkwell, what it does. A rectangular area of material that responds to touch. For a variant of this widget that does not clip splashes, see ink response, whatever. The following diagram shows you how an inkwell looks when tapped. Alright, so the splash is that little circle thing. Right. When using default values. The inkwell widget must have a material widget as an ancestor. The material widget is where the ink reactions are actually painted. This matches the material design premise where the material is what is actually reacting to the touches by spreading ink. If a widget uses this class directly, it should include the following line at the top of the build function call, blah, blah, blah. Debug check has material context. Okay. The ink splashes aren't visible. If there's an opaque graphic, example painted using a container image or decorated box between the material widget and the inkwell widget, then the splash won't be visible because it will be under the opaque graphic. So could it be because I specified a color? So if I get rid of this and the highlight, and I just leave splash and the disable, we'll get rid of disabled even though it's not disabled. Oh. No, that's not right. We've still got... So there's that. It looks like that was the white that I just saw. So if I now go back to just having green and save. Oh yeah. So if I go and I put color in here, like so. Alright, so the green still pops up when I do that. So maybe it's the highlight color that's getting in the way. Yeah. So the highlight color blocks the splash color. I don't think they mentioned that in the documentation. Pretty cool. Color brightness. This is still inverted in it. Oh, hang on. Now it's white at all times. I don't get that. Anyway, there's the color. There's the splash color. So I can't use the highlight color as well at the same time. As soon as I do that, it looks like it kind of transitions, but like if I do it quick enough, it's there. But then the red, oh, if I hold it, it's also there, is it? Not always. Right, so it's not ideal to have highlight color turned on. Cool. Alright, next. What else do we need to know? What's this? There's still an inkwell. Close this. Go back to where we were. So elevation enabled, which was a read-only, hashcodes read-only. Height. Now there wasn't a height passed in. We couldn't pass one in. We could pass highlight color in. Highlight elevation, which I believe I already did that. Maybe not. So we've got highlight color. Highlight elevation. Let's go with 16. Makes sense. Try that. So when I hover, you can see it lifts up a little bit. Alright. These are all little things. Let's move on. Material tap target size. Configures the minimum size of the tap target. Oh, what was that? Spotify. Discover podcasts on Spotify. No, thank you. I'll do that later. Won't I, huh? Anyway, what's this? So we're looking at material tap target size enum. Expands the minimum tap target size to 48 by 48. This is the default value of theme.material hits test size and the recommended size to conform to Android accessibility scanner recommendations. Shrinks the target tap size to the minimum provided by material specification. Okay. So what if I set it to shrink wrap? It looks like it's a much smaller size. So we're looking at material tap size, material tap target size, and what was it? Material, that's the thing. Dot, that's what they say is the default. Let's go shrink wrap. So does that mean that I can't I don't get it. I'm still able to tap it wherever I want. Grr. And if I set this to padded and save, what does it do? Oh. So I don't even have to be inside the button. Is that what it is? I just have to even be in the shade area. So if I go back to shrink wrap and save. Oh yeah. Like you literally can't do it there until you have to be literally on the button. Whereas the other way, it gives you a bit of latitude if you get close to it. Like there. This, oh yeah, we've detected you kind of wanted to hit this button. Alright, yep, makes sense. So go back. So what have we got left? Min width. That's inherited. On highlight changed. I think no, but even if they're inherited, I can still change them, right? As long as the constructor passes them to me. So what have I not covered in this constructor? On highlight changed, okay. Text theme, don't think I've done that either. Nope. Text color, yes. Disable text color, yes. Color, yes. Disable color, yes. I'm pretty sure I have. Yep, I commented it out right now, but it's there. Highlight color, yes. Splash color, yes. Color brightness, yeah, I kind of vaguely understood that. Elevation, highlight elevation, disabled elevation. I think I looked at disabled and normal elevation. Oh no, there's highlight elevation. So when I hover over it, it gets higher up, yep. And what have we got? Key controls how one widget replaces another widget in the tree. So my understanding is that's just created and that we don't set it ourselves. Material tap target size, we just saw that. Min width, I'm pretty sure that's not passed from the constructor. Didn't see that there. So min width. No, there's nothing here about min width. On highlight changed. Just make sure there's no others. Alright, so let's add a handler for on highlight changed. Get out of this spot. On highlight changed, and what does it take? What kind of function? It's a boolean, okay. Is it, if I click on it, is it only if on press changes from null to non-null while the gesture is ongoing, this can fire during the build phase, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is when the inkwell is doing its stuff. So if I say something like is highlighting, and then go debug print is high. Oh, it was meant to be highlighting. And I think if I remember, I just got to put a $sign inside of single quotes. I think that's the Dart way. No? Oh, that's because this word's different to this word. Cool. Let's check it. So I got false. So the true comes from where? Oh, because I'm currently highlighting, right? So it prints out true. And then when I let go, it's going to print out false. And then it's going to detect that I clicked the button. Well, detect I click the button if I hold down. No. It's only once I release, it's going to say click button, click button. Okay, cool. Cool. What else? What else can we know about buttons? On press, done that. Oh, padding. We can add some padding, can we? Okay, is padding part of the options here? Yep. So let's add some padding. We'll do it. So padding, and we'll say edge insets dot all, and we'll go 30. And it looks like that didn't work. Why not? Oh, why has it got tween? There we go. Ooh, big fat button. I gave it 30 pixels on all sides, but obviously I can also go. I can go only and say top is equal to 10 and left is equal to 30, right is equal to 30, and bottom is equal to 10. All right. If I save this, all right, so we get a fatter or a wider button. That's fine. So we've got padding, runtime, okay. Splash color, we saw. Shape, what's this shape thing? I have no idea. In fact, I'm just going to quickly run out. If I just quickly go do something, I'll be back in a minute. This is what I get for doing live streams. Alright. Well, you need a toilet break. You need a toilet break. Alrighty. Okay, so where was I at? I was adding padding. So I was playing around padding and I got that to work. Cool. What else can we do? We've got padding. We've got, what's runtime type? Okay, so it's basically just telling you what type of object it is. ShapeBorder. Splash color. I looked at splash color. Text color. Text theme. I don't have a text theme here. Never mind. And that seems to be it. Okay, so what haven't I done here? Color, whatever. Clip behavior. I'm probably not going to focus on that because I think that's got more to do with the fact that if you're doing something that clips out of bounds of the button, the content will be clipped or not according to this option. So I think it's if you add like a background image or something inside of it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of options. Probably not going to do that right now. I mean, if people want to know what that does, we can look at it at a future time, but I'd rather focus on different things. And what else we got here? ShapeBorder. What is ShapeBorder? This class handles how to add multiple borders together. Subclasses define various shapes like circles, rounded rectangles, rounded rectangle border, super ellipses, or beveled rectangles. Do I really care about this? I mean, if I was creating a custom button, I probably would look into something like that maybe, but I don't think we really need to care about that stuff right now. So I'm going to end it there in terms of the raised button. How long is the stream going on for? Not an hour yet, so okay. Plus I went to the toilet, so I had a little bit more time on top of it. So let's move on. So there were other buttons that were in this list up here, right? Or maybe not on this page, but the previous page, was it? No? Maybe it was that page. I saw a list of, there we go. FlatButton. Let's look at FlatButton. So, FlatButton, a material design FlatButton. A FlatButton is a text label display on a zero elevation material widget that reacts to touching by filling in with color. Use a FlatButton on toolbars, in dialogues, or in line with other content, but offset from the content with padding, so the button's presence is obvious. FlatButtons intentionally do not have visible borders and must therefore rely on their position relative to other content for context. In dialogues and cards, they should be grouped together in one of the bottom corners. Avoid using FlatButtons where they would blend in with other content, for example, in the middle of lists. Material design FlatButtons have an all caps label, some internal padding, and some defined dimensions. To have a part of your application be interactive with ink splashes without also committing to these. Okay, whatever. If the on-press callback is null, then the button will be disabled. Okay. Will not reach the touch and will be colored as specified with the disabled property instead of the color property. If you're trying to change the button's color, so a lot of this is the same, right? It's just there's probably going to be less features because it doesn't have an elevation. It's flat. That's what I'm assuming. So we should be able to jump through this one pretty quick then. So we've got animation duration again, we've got child, we've got clip behavior again, we've got color, we've got the color brightness, we've got disabled color, disabled elevation. Thought there was no elevation on this. Thought it said there was no elevation. Zero elevation. But it's got disabled elevation. Maybe when it's disabled you can do it. Because, oh no, it's got elevation here. What the hell? So, is it like a base class then? Like, so you can customize it to have an elevation, but you shouldn't? That's strange. Height, highlight color. So, for the most part, it looks like we can grab what we've got here, copy this, I'm going to create a new file. And we're just going to remove a few things, I would assume. FlatButton button, not fubber. .dart. Paste. And we'll change it to FlatButton test widget. And this will become FlatButton. So disabled elevation is hidden. And so is elevation and highlight elevation. Okay, so why is it in the that's inherited, right? And because it's because it's inherited, we can't set it in the constructor. So they are telling the truth. All good. So that ensures it's going to be flat. What about disabled color? Can that be set? Yes. Highlight color can be set. Animation duration can not be set. Okay. Defines the duration. Okay, so they're not allowing us to set the duration of the animations. We've got a child, and then everything else seems to somewhat work the same. Is there anything here that it can do that we can't do? So that the raise button couldn't do. So we've got button text theme. We had that previously. Value change bool. That's all the same. That's 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 the same. Okay. Yep. It looks like it's just a cut down version of a raised button. Cool. All right. So let's just go and copy, save this, and then just reference it just to see what it looks like. Because I'm not going to waste too much more time on it if that's the case. This is going to present slightly differently. Flat button. Save. Okay. No big deal. So the only difference is it doesn't seem to have any elevation and a few other little bits and bobs. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. It has that highlight. If we take away those highlights, does it still act the same? Whoops, not that one. If I take away the highlight color, does the splash color still come through? Yep. So it seems to behave the same way. And if I get rid of if I make it disabled, like so, and save. Yep. It looks disabled to me. Cool. We have disabled text color, and then we have text color. Yep. All right. That was easy. It's just a raised button, but just a flat version of it. So, or a raised version is a flat button that's just raised. Cool. All right. Now, there might be little bits and pieces that are different, but I think for the most part, I just want to get a fairly good understanding of what they all do before I go too deep into building something. So drop down button. All right, let's have a look at this one. A material design button for selecting from a list of items. A drop down button lets the user select from a number of items. The button shows the currently selected item as well as an arrow that opens a menu for selecting another item. The value T is the type of the value that each drop down item represents. Okay. All the entries in a given menu must represent values with consistent types. Typically, an enum is used. Each drop-down menu item in items must be specialized with that same type argument. The onChange callback should update the state variable that defines the drop-down's value. It should also call state.setState to rebuild the drop-down with the new value. Okay, so this one's going to require me to create a stateful widget. Alright, I'm assuming. So this one isn't going to be as straightforward as the other ones. So if I come and say drop down button dart, so basically I come and say I'm gonna grab this one for now. And I'll paste it in here, and I'll change this from stateless to stateful widget. And it's going to ask me to create state, right? So I'm pretty sure I have to implement that create state method. So we'll just quick fix that. Grab one missing overload. Alright, so let's put it down there. That's fine. And then I need to create a state. So they've got stateful widget. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to create another class under here. So just go class. Let's go string. Let's go, no, not state. Let's go city state. It's a terrible name. And then I think if I remember right, I have to extend state, and then I have to grab stateful widget. No, not stateful widget. FlatButton test widget, like that. And then I can implement the build function. Come on, give me the build. So once again, I'm just going to click quick fix here. There it is. All right. And that's where this crap will go. Yeah, man. Get in there. Rightio. Oh, no, that removed the build function. Oh, that's the create one, sorry. Whoops. I was like, what? There we go. So now I just need to return a city state like that. And I can delete all this garbage up here. And then I just need to change this from FlatButton widget to DropdownButton test widget. And now what? Oh, I've given it a different name, so therefore I have to change that down there. And I think we're in good next. So now I just have to, and this is keeping in mind I still have the FlatButton set for this, but that's okay. I just want to get this working. And then I just need to import that and go drop down button widget and save. And we should get the exact same thing. And we seem to have done so. So let's change this to, I don't know, oi. Oi. All right, cool. So we're hitting the right thing now. Now, drop down button. How much of this is going to change? I think they said there was an items collection or something. So if I scroll down, was it items? Yeah, items. And it returns a list of drop-down menu items. So that means, and what does it take in? Nothing. This doesn't take in anything. It's just a property. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go items, and this is equal to a function, or it could be just something that returns. I'm going to do this. I'm going to create an array. Now I'm calling it cities, so I'm going to use Australian cities. I'll go Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. It's Brisbane, not Brisbane. Anyone that's listening. Adelaide, and we'll go Perth, and we'll just stop there. They're all the important ones. Like, who cares about Darwin? Darwin or Tassie? Forget you guys, you suck. Alright, now, I think I'm going to, can I use map? So I need to return a list of whatever it was, drop down list item or something. What was it? What do I have to return? Sure, it's over. Yeah, drop down list menu item of something. So map. I'm sure all I have to do is go drop down list item string, like that maybe. And then I don't like that being there like that. Why did it give me edge inserts? Now I think I can just put city, and then I can go drop down list item. And in here, Why is it not giving me anything that I want? Let's do that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, do that. Can I go to list? Yeah, there's the to list. So why is this complaining? The name drop-down list item isn't a type, so it can't be used as a type argument. Really? Let's just do this. Hopefully this is like TypeScript where we don't have to explicitly set it. And then I think that has to be in parentheses in Dart. You can tell I've got a TypeScript background or a C# background. So what's this take now? This takes the method drop-down list isn't defined for class city state. I think this one needs a string on it, like that. Why is it? Maybe it's not a capital D. Maybe it's a lowercase d. No. What is it? A drop-down menu item. Menu item. Not menute. There we go. And then for this, what does it take? Drop-down menu item T class. So child, which is a widget. So I'm going to return a child. And that will just be a text with city in it. And then I believe there's a value. Yeah, cool. And I'll just put city for that. And then hopefully that should just work, I would have thought. Drop down button. I guess that's a lowercase d again. Oh. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now I have to get rid of half of this garbage. It doesn't look like they're there. So we've got items. What's wrong with items now? The list items you can select. Is it because... Oh, bugger off, people. Hey, I got a call. Hello? 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 From where, sorry?
I'm calling you from the benefit assurance team in regards to your electricity and gas services.
You called me earlier today, right?
No, sir, it's the first time I'm calling you. Back from the benefit assurance team.
No, someone called me. Someone tried to call me earlier today from the same place.
Okay, okay. Are you paying electricity bills at the moment?
No, dude, I'm not interested, okay? I said that to the other guy.
Sorry?
God, telemarketers, man. Telemarketers. I swear I'm going to start one of those bloody, one of those prank things soon if it keeps coming on. I don't know if I'm of a certain age now that they just feel like they can come after me, but it's getting really frustrating. So, what's going on here? Can't be assigned to parameter type. Let's drop down menu on Dart. Why is this not working? It's saying dynamic. So what is this returning? Iterable T. So that's ultimately I'm getting what I want, which is list drop down menu item of string. Isn't that what this is after? It's just dynamic. Okay, I'm just trying to think of how, because I'm mapping strings to a drop down menu item of string. So I just naturally assume that this would give me an iterable, or this gives me an iterable of t. So the t in this case is whatever I'm returning, which is in this case a drop-down menu item of string. So that's an iterable of drop-down menu item of string. And then I'm calling toList, which gives me a list of drop-down menu item of string. So what am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong? I am not sure what is going on. This is what happens when you do things live. You make mistakes. And then people go, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. And people like me, who don't pay attention to the chat while they're doing live streams, sit here confused for half the time. So, it is strange. I naturally would have thought drop down menu on value letter. Top 2 list. Is it because, maybe it's because I'm using a function here and I should be just doing this. Ah, there you go. There it is. My bad. I was passing in a function instead of a list of values. So it was a function that was returning what I wanted and not just the values that I wanted. So now what does DropdownButton want? It's not very clear from that, does it? Is it? Let's look inside. Stop moving on me. Stop moving. There we go. The items unchanged. Okay, so what does the onChange function look like? Value change T. Okay, so it wants me, it's going to give me a value and then I have to implement it. So I'm assuming value changed. It's just a function where it passes in a parameter of T. Okay. So then all I have to do is go onChanged and we pass in city. And for now, I'm just going to go, was it debug print, and pass in city like that, and see what happens. And what is this complaining about now? Avoid using braces. Oh, whoops. So this is where I get lost with the damn bloody C# code that I write sometimes. All right. So we get this ugly looking thing. Right. And the value's not getting set because they asked me to set state, right? That's what the whole purpose of what it said. So currently I'm on drop down menu item. Go back. Did I go back too far? Oh no. Drop down button T class. So where is it? If the onChange callback is null, la la. I read it somewhere. There it is. It should also call state.setState to rebuild the dropdown with the new value. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to have a final up here. Final currently chosen state, and I'll set it to null to start off with. Now, is it going to break? Is there a value? There must be a value. Oh yeah, there we go. Value, drop down value. Okay, so if I pass this in as a value and save, it's not going to break, is it? Alright, so it's not going to complain because I sent to the default a null. That's good. So then now all I need to do is, instead of printing it out, which I can see it's working down here, I need to create some code here that just goes set state, right? Set state. And then I think in here, whoops, I need to set currently chosen state equals city. And I put currently chosen state, it should be currently chosen city. Put that like that. Now why is this complaining? Is it because I'm using final? And I shouldn't be using final, I should probably be using what's the other one that we use? My Dart knowledge. What are they using? Alright, so they're just specifying a string like that. Except, again, I come from C#. So now they're saying null is not acceptable. Don't explicitly initialize variables. Okay. I'll listen to you, Dart, and give you what you want. And do I not need to set a semicolon there? Doesn't like it. All right, let's give this a go. So currently it's null. I set it to Brisbane. Hey, it's Brisbane. I set it to Perth. It's Perth. I set it to Sydney. It's Sydney. Hooray! All right. So is this an equivalent of a drop-down list? Like, because it's pretty primitive in what it can do. Anyway, let's see what other properties we have for this thing. What time is it? It's getting up there now. I probably should stop soon. We'll do a few more things and then I'll stop the stream. So what do we got here? Disabled hint. A message to show when the drop-down is disabled. Alright. Let's do that. Disabled hint. I'm just going to throw a text in here and we'll say can't. Can we do this? Choose city. I'm still learning Dart at the same time. And then do I just set on changed? So I remove that down to the next line. I can set this to null. And then I just comment out all this. Like so. And save. No. What's it complaining about? Have I got... I think that was meant to go with it. Like that. Can't choose city. There we go. So now I understand that. Elevation, the Z coordinate on which to place the menu when open. Okay, so we'll add some elevation. We'll go 8. Now we'll go 9 and save. And now I'm going to have to remove the onchanged. So back to something. Well, actually, we'll go back a couple steps. Like that. And then I'll just go, what was it? Elevation. And we'll say 9 and save. And when I set this, oh, okay. But that just looks the same. But it looks like it's pretty high up already. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's go 2. Is that going to make it flat? No, it doesn't really show much difference. I'll go 1. Is this even doing anything? Am I not giving it the right values? So you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 16, 24. All right, let's try 24. So if I go back, not the drop down button. So let's give it the 24 that it says. So it should be much higher. Oh, that's noticeable. That's definitely noticeable. But for whatever reason, the default is 8. So if I go 12, that's half as much as that. Is it not reloading? This is weird. So if I now go 1, let's reload now. Alright, so there are some discrepancies. So we've got elevation, I'll just set that to 1. We got hint, displayed if value is null. Okay. So we can put, was it hint, text, please choose an option, or please choose a city. like so. And now we have to choose something. And then once we choose something, then, well, I can't unchoose it. So if I do a hot reload, it's not going to change anything. But if I do a full sync, it's going to go back to that. Cool. Nice. All right. We don't have an icon. I'm really not going to worry about that right now. Is dense. Reduces the button's height. What? I'm going to look at it from here. Is dense. Reduces the button's height. By default, this button's height is the same as its menu items. Menu items heights. If dense is true, the button's height is reduced by about half. Okay. This can be useful when the button is embedded in a container that adds its own decorators, like input decorator. Alright, we'll just set it and see what happens. So we've got hint. I'm going to put is dense true and save. And we'll do another full sync. And I don't see what that did. Is it because maybe I need to put a border on it? Like, I can't see where it ends. So it looked like before that it was actually bigger, but you can't see it because of the fact that it's all white. Yeah, it seems like it starts a little higher up. So what if, for the center, I put, let's say, just trying to think of the best way to do this. We'll put a container in there, like so, child, container, and this has a child, and we'll set that to this drop down button. So all this stuff will go in here. Then I can just remove this last bit here. And probably need to tab this over. Like so. So it's not going to be obvious at the moment. So let's give the container a color though. Color dot, we'll just go, then we'll go theme dot of context dot, let's go alternate, or no, we'll go background color like that and save. Okay, so that's how big it is. And then if I set dense to true, oh yeah, okay, I get it. So now it's only as high as it needs to be to fill in that default information, but it's not as high as one of the menu items in here. Whereas the menu items are bigger. So if I set this back to false, yeah, okay, got it, I understand. Next is expanded. Sets the drop down's inner contents to horizontally fill its parent. Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward. Is expanded. If I set this to true, I'm assuming it's going to go the width of the container. And it does. Okay, cool. I'm going to add some padding as well to this, because it looks weird. Padding. What was it? Inset. What was it? Inset. Edge insets. That's it. That's what I was trying to remember. Okay. But the blue is still all there. So, yeah. And if I was to get around that, I'd have to add a container around the center. And then the center would push everything out. I don't want to do all that. It just seems like overkill. I just wanted to see the height of it. So instead, actually what I'll do is I'll keep that out because I wanted the exact size of the drop down button when I'm playing with it. Cool. All right, next items, we looked at that. On change, we looked at that. Style, So that's for the text. So I'm assuming that's the same as any text widget, considering it's using the same style, text style, and we'll go font size, and we'll go font weight is font weight dot bold, and if this works, it's enough for me to. Why did it go white? All right, so that throws me off. Why did it go white? Is it because I'm using a different text style? Maybe it's because if I don't use this, it was using the theme, right, that's built in through the context. But now it's always, hang on, what's going on here? So choose that. So now it's currently black. But if I do this, and we'll just do that kind of a reload. Cool. Now it's white. Why? Okay. Color. No, color is color dot RGB. We'll go 255000. So we'll go black. Cool. And then I'll just throw this in. So it looks like to me if you explicitly set the style on the widget, or this widget anyway, it's going to ignore all the other inherited styles from the context. Anyway, I might finish the video here, guys, or the stream, I should say. And I might catch you all in the very next one that I do, whenever that is. I don't know when that is. You'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, bye, guys.